Hey, what's up? I'm Katie Faye. I'm a Weight Watchers. I'm breastfeeding, and this is what I eat in a day. I am starting off with a protein bar. If you watched the video that went live this morning, you know I've been struggling with just like points management and not eating all of the points at one time. So today I'm gonna try something different, which is eat when the baby eats. So she just ate, and I'm getting ready to pump. So while I'm pumping, I'm gonna eat this 6 point energy bar. I get 41 points a day. I think that leaves me with 35 points. I'm tired, so math isn't mathing, but there you go. So it turns out I did do that math correct. After the 6 points, I had 35 points left, and about 3 hours later, I nursed the baby and pumped. So that gave me that meant it was time to eat again, and it worked out because I was actually kind of starting to get hungry. So I for lunch had an old standby. I had Rayo's tomato soup and a baked potato, as always, and it was 6 points, which then left me with 20. I'm doing math in my head again because I'm recording this at the end of the night. I should have taken screenshots along the way. 35 minus 6 is 29. Left me with 29 points for the day. So also you can see I am cleaning up a little bit in our kitchen. I've been doing really well about making sure the kitchen is clean at the end of the night so I don't have to worry about it throughout the day the next day. However, last night I went to organize under the sink and realized that our sink was leaking. So my husband fixed it, which, thankfully didn't cost any extra money. He was able to fix it that night with, stuff that we had. However, it took him a while to, figure out the problem and then fix the problem, and then fixing the problem caused another problem, and then he had to fix that problem, and it just took a while. So we were able to get the dishwasher to run overnight after he had it fixed. And I hand washed a few dishes, but really I didn't worry. So you can see me before I started, I sanitized some bottles, and while things are microwaving, I was able to, pick up and clean a little bit. So anyway, the points breakdown for this 6 point lunch. The potato was a small potato, and I'll tell you how I decipher between small, medium, and large in just a minute. But it was a small potato, and then I did a tablespoon and a half of reduced fat Mexican blend cheese. I just had the Aldi's version, the Happy Farms blend. That was 1 point, and then the soup, half the jar, was 2 points. So that's how I used my 6 points. I also, on the potato, did a couple of sprays of that I Can't Believe It's Not Butter spray and some black pepper. And delicious. One of my favorite meals. You guys know, if you've been here pre-pregnancy, I think I even had this in one of my 3 videos back. I think I've already had this one night. So it's a staple. It's a standby. I love it. So when you're tracking a potato, how do you know if it's a small one, a medium one, or a large one? Because it does make a difference in the points. For me, I choose to go by how long it takes it to cook in the microwave. So this potato was done in 4 minutes. 2 minutes on one side, I poked my fork, it went almost all the way through, and then I did 2 minutes on the other side, and then it was completely done. So if it takes less than 5 minutes to cook, I will track it as a small potato. If it takes 5 to 8 minutes to cook, I will track it as a medium, and then anything more than 8 minutes, I'll track as a large potato. Usually, I will say too, if you buy the baking potatoes from the store, it's large. However, we bought a 5-pound bag, and there's a lot more medium and smalls in the bag. I think because they pull out the big ones to sell as baking potatoes, and then the medium and small ones are what's left in the bag. So yeah, that's that's how I tell. That's my personal guide. I didn't see that or read that anywhere. It's just sounded reasonable and what felt right to me. So I thought I'd share in case you kind of struggle with some of those subjective measurements. Another like Weight Watchers tip I have is to maximize your points. So, for example, when I scanned in the cheese, I noticed that 2 teaspoons of it was 1 point, and I knew that I would have more than 2 teaspoons of cheese, or I knew that I would want more than 2 teaspoons of cheese on my potato if I could have it. So I just like played in the app and scrolled to see how like the most amount of cheese I could have for 1 point. And that was, in case you're curious, of the reduced fat Mexican blend Aldi's cheese. 1 5/8 of a tablespoon is the most I can have for 1 point. Anything more than that was 2 points, and so on. That's a tip I use all the time. One, like to maximize my 1 point. I use it again. Spoiler alert, later in the video, I have an apple with some PB2 as a snack. And I actually just scaled it back to see how much PB2 I could have in its 0 points. And in that case, it was 2 teaspoons. So it works both ways. Like if you say, okay, this costs a point, how much can I have for that point? Or this costs 5 points, how much can I have for 5 points? And then how little can I get away with? So like, what's the least amount of like this ingredient that I will still notice I have the ingredient, like it's still going to add to the dish, but also like the fewest points I can spend on it. And that has been great as well. Another thing I use that tip for is I've been eating a lot of Sun Chips recently. They're like one of my favorites, like chips to have to snack. And then I eat the Harvest Cheddar with like sandwiches and stuff. But then you can buy plain like whole wheat Sun Chips, and I use those in place of tortillas for like guacamole or salsa or like nachos or something. I'll use the whole wheat Sun Chips because they're far better on points. But then like when you scan the bag, it tells you the automatic serving size on that's listed on the bag, but you can like scroll up and see like, okay, well it automatically tells me that 12 chips is like 4 points. I think I'm not 100% sure on that. But it'll automatically tell you like what that serving size is, but then you can scroll up and be like, okay, well for 3 points, 12 chips. Oh, I could actually have 15 chips for those 3 points. And that's just one little thing that I do to like maximize. Oh, also I added a little powder to my water to make me drink more of it, and that was delicious too. Baby is fed again, which means if I'm following the rules of the day, it's time for a snack. I opted for a 0 point snack this time and a little bit of a lighter snack just because it's 4 o'clock and we were getting ready to eat dinner and I was going to feed her again at 6 o'clock, which is, just a couple of hours, and I wasn't really all that hungry. I was eating because I'm, trying to get in the habit of eat when the baby eats. So I sliced up a apple and added 2 teaspoons of PB2 powder to it. So I put the apple slices in a container that has a lid, and then I added the PB2 and shook it up so that the powder coated each apple, and it's delicious. It tastes just like dipping apples in peanut butter, and it saves you a little bit of fat and calories to do it this way. However, I will say there's nothing wrong with apples dipped in peanut butter, and that is also another go-to staple of mine. So don't get it twisted. We have not replaced peanut butter with PB2. Just sometimes I supplement, if that makes sense. And then I had a little bit of baby free time. She was perfectly content in her crib with her little play gym. So I just put her on the monitor, and while she was content having some independent play, I was watching her on the monitor and thought I might go ahead and prepare some overnight oats. If I'm chopping 1 apple, might as well chop 2, right? So for these, I just kind of made up I looked up a couple recipes for different flavors just to make sure I got like the measurements of like oats to liquid correct, and then I just made my own. So I did a cup of oats and 1 1/4 cup of 2% milk. And then I diced up an apple, threw it in there, a tablespoon of chia seeds, and some cinnamon and nutmeg. Did not measure the cinnamon and nutmeg. I just went with my heart on that one. And it's never led me astray so far, at least not when it comes to seasoning food. Except for one time when I was pregnant, I made a chicken pot pie and forgot to season it. And it was the blandest thing I ever had in my life. We're going to call that pregnancy brain for that one. But anyway, I am so thankful that I made these overnight oats. It makes 2 servings, and they are, it's either 6 or 7 points per serving. I can look that up for you. 1 second. They were 7 points per serving, which is super exciting because I feel like this is a far more satiating meal than the protein bars, which maybe I could get some protein powder and add a little protein to this, because I think that is what this like would be missing if I were to have it like as a full meal, like a breakfast or something. But anyway, it's 7 points for this overnight oatmeal, and the protein bars are 6 points. And I feel like the oatmeal is going to be a little bit more satiating. And it's also like just nice to have grab and go foods anytime, but especially like in this phase of my life. I'm thankful that I had, like the 30 minutes to where she was just happy and content, and I was able to get this done, because I don't always get those little windows of time. But anyway, once I got it all together, I mixed it up and added it to some mason jars. I like using mason jars for overnight oats just because they're, sometimes I eat them warm, sometimes I eat them cold, but either way I can heat it up directly in the mason jar and not have to worry about it. And yeah, just thankful to have this on hand. And then after I finished making this and cleaned up, and finished my little apple and PB2 snack, it was already time to start cooking dinner. So my husband came home, he hung out with the baby and played with her while I made our dinner. And that was really good too. I'm excited to tell you about it. So stay tuned for like literally 2 seconds. Like as soon as I put the stuff in the jars, I don't even need to stop this voiceover. I could keep going, but I'm going to stop this voiceover. So yeah, see ya in just a second. Tonight's 14-point dinner was barbecue pork chops, some smashed potatoes, and vegetables, just some steamer pack vegetables. So this ended up being, I just said it, 14 points. It was 4 points for the center lean, the cooked lean center loin pork. So in addition to watching my Weight Watchers budget, I've also been watching our financial budget because, having a baby and all. And pork loin is a very lean protein that's actually pretty affordable right now, especially if you get like a big loin and you cut your own pork chops like I did. I did this 2 weeks ago, and I ended up with 3 nights of meals out of like a 3 or 4 pound pork loin. We had shake and bake pork chops one night. Then we had like some Asian inspired pork chops with stir fry vegetables. That was my favorite. And then tonight we just had a classic barbecue. So yeah, 4 points for the pork chop itself, 2 points for the barbecue sauce, and 2 points for Italian dressing. So I used Sweet Baby Ray's original barbecue sauce and Kroger Zesty Italian dressing. You use 1 part of each. I tracked a tablespoon because I want it to be generous. like I wanted to make sure I didn't under track anything. So I tracked a tablespoon each, but I got tracked a tablespoon each, but I think there was far less of that on each pork chop. But you just kind of like when you're doing marinades and stuff like that, you just have to do your best guess, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I added that to the bottom of my pan. I mixed it all together and then added in my pork chops and flipped them around, got them coated front and back, and then set them to the side while I preheated the oven to 425 degrees. And then I cooked them for 15 minutes. I checked the temp, and they were not done yet, so I added 5 more minutes on the clock, and then they were done after about 20 minutes at 425. That's my dishwasher beeping in the background, by the way, in case you have the same dishwasher as me. It's not yours, it's mine. Anyway, I think that was the last beep. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna fight this dishwasher. I'm gonna fight it. Okay. Anyway, for the potatoes, we had these little honey gold 2-bite potatoes that we got from Aldi. And I've seen these smashed potatoes all over like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. And I wanted to try them. So I didn't follow any particular recipe. I never do. I watch a bunch of videos and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks good, I can do it. And then I don't follow the recipe. But I boiled them until they were fork tender, and then I set them all out on a baking sheet, and then smashed them with a glass. I did find that it was easier if I sprayed the bottom of the glass with some cooking spray, and then before smashing, and then there's like a certain amount of pressure. If you smash too hard, then it's not good. And if you do it too lightly, it's also not good. So you want to give like medium pressure, and I really can't describe it. It's just something you're going to have to feel out and hopefully get the hang of by the end of it, which I did. And then I drizzled them with olive oil and salt, pepper, and Asiago cheese. You could use Parmesan if you have that. I always love a good Asiago cheese. It's one of my favorites. But anyway, those ended up being 6 points for 4 potatoes. So it was 2 points for the potatoes, 1 point for olive oil. I tracked a teaspoon because I did very little and I only ate 4. I did very little on all of them and I only ate 4 of the potatoes. And then I tracked half an ounce of Asiago cheese. I think that was probably pretty generous because it was literally just like a sprinkle on top of each potato. And I'm picturing a full ounce of it. I think half an ounce was generous. I think I may have over-tracked in that area. But I'd rather over-track than under-track because I really am trying to like tighten it up and get on track here, for lack of a better word. Take a shot every time I said TRACK, but don't, because that would be bad. Anyway, delicious. Then I put them, after the pork chops were done, I put them in the oven on broil for a little over 5 minutes. I put the potatoes in the steamer bag of vegetables in at the same time, and then the potatoes were probably done probably like 6 or 7 minutes. I think next time I make these, there will be a next time because they were delicious. They weren't perfect yet, but they were delicious. I think next time I make these, I'll just put them in the 425 oven and not necessarily broil them, and maybe give myself a little longer, like maybe 10-15 minutes at 425 instead of 5 minutes on broil. And hopefully that will, what do you call it? Hopefully that'll make them just a little bit more crispy. And yeah, there's that. So yeah, just cooking up some dinner. If you see me talking, it's because at this point my husband's home and he's sitting at the table with the baby, and I'm just talking to both of them, and we're having some family time while I cook dinner because it is about to be her nap time, which worked out perfect for us tonight that she had a nap time. So we were able to like really eat and like talk to each other and not have to worry about like one of us has the baby or any of that. So that was good. And you can see like here I am smashing those potatoes. And like I said, I did have to spray the bottom of the glass with the Pam. But yeah, what's been going on? I feel like we have plenty of time to catch up because the only other thing I did for this dinner, I've already described everything. The only other thing I did for this dinner is microwave some steamer vegetables. Oh, do not use Great Value frozen vegetables. Well, at least not their California blend, because it is like 2 broccolis and then the rest of the broccoli in the pack is like the toughest part of the stem that you would never eat. Like you would, if you were like making that broccoli at home, you would either be wasteful and throw it away, like I think a lot of people do, or if you're better than that, you would save it for a vegetable stock, but that's it. Like you would not roast that or eat that like super tough part of the stem, and that was like 90% of what is in that Great Value California blend. It's supposed to be carrots, cauliflower, and broccoli, but like I said, the broccoli are just the stems. So yeah, this is a funny thing that happened. Oh nope, we're not at the funny part yet. Just continuing to make those potatoes. But yeah, what's been going on? I feel like we should catch up. Oh, I'm going back to work on Thursday, February 1st. I don't know how I feel about that. My maternity leave is almost over. I'm extremely grateful. I know when Lucy was 8 weeks old, I was just thinking about all of the women who get like the 8-week maternity leave, or the short-term disability, and that's all they get at their jobs. And I was like, I don't know how they do it. I couldn't do it personally myself, and respect for them. And I just was so grateful for my company's maternity leave, which is 18 weeks, and most of it's paid 100%, and the last 4 weeks are paid 70%. And so like, I'm just so grateful I work at a company that takes care of their people. And I could not imagine going back to work any earlier than this. I'm already nervous enough. Okay, this is the funny thing. It was nap time, so we left the kitchen to put Lucy down for her nap, and my dog just hopped up on the counter and sniffed the potatoes. Thankfully, he did not lick them or take any of them, because that's my dog that has all of the stomach issues. So, we definitely would have somehow, I know it's just salt, pepper, and cheese, but we somehow would have ended up in the emergency vet if he had eaten one. But anyway, he did not, thankfully. And I didn't realize that happened until I was editing this video and watching it back, and I like called my husband and I was like, look at Baker. But yeah, he just hopped up on the counter, took a little sniff, and was like, meh, not for me. So yeah, there I am popping in those awful steamer vegetables, and then all that's left to do is plate it up. This was a really, really good dinner. My husband ate the leftover. He also eats second dinner. He's not breastfeeding, so I don't know why he eats second dinner, but I'm not judging. He ate the leftovers while I ate second dinner, and he said they were good cold. So there you have it. This, by the way, this half barbecue sauce, half Italian seasoning, that is a super easy like barbecue marinade that we do all the time. Most of the time we do it with chicken, but like I said, pork this time. Sometimes I have done it with Nope, just chicken and pork. Those are the only two things I've done it on. But you could do it on more, I guess. You can do it in the crock pot. That's one of the easier ways to, like, you do. It's just one part barbecue sauce, one part Italian seasoning. We've grilled chicken with that recipe, and it's been delicious. Yeah, just all kinds of things you can do with that, like, base barbecue recipe. We've done marinades with it. I don't really know. Like, if you do a marinade, it doesn't need to be more than 30 minutes. Like, you don't get anything. It doesn't soak in more if you do more or a shorter time of that. But it was delicious. It was a good, like, staple meal, and it looks pretty on a plate. And those 4 potatoes look like a lot more when they're all smashed. So there's a tip. It's time for second dinner. So I have 4 points worth of whole wheat penne, and then 4 points worth of this Classico basil pesto. And that leaves me with 7 points left for the night, which is perfect because if I'm eating when the baby eats, I gotta feed her one more time before I go to bed. So in theory, things are working out great. Hopefully it stays that way. All right, it is 11:45 on the dot. I am about to wake up Lucy and nurse her at midnight, and then I will pump and head to bed myself. So my last meal of the day is going to be these overnight oats. I did decide to warm them up for a minute and a half in the microwave because I prefer warm oatmeal over cold. I've already taken a couple bites. It's delicious. Those are my last 7 points for the day. Overall, I'm feeling really good about where I ended up with today. I'm glad that, I finally made that video and let everyone know, like, hey, I'm struggling, and I said it out loud. Like, I said the words, I'm struggling out loud. This is what I'm struggling with. That forced me to really, like, think through how I could do things differently, and today went really well. So hopefully it only gets easier as I find more and more go-to snacks, but we'll see what the scale says in the morning. Weigh-in complete. I lost 2.89 pounds. That's a lot. I'm gonna assume that some of that is me losing, like, some water weight, and not all, just because of, like, having one really good day. So if I gain tomorrow, we're gonna give myself some grace because that's a lot for one day. Like, I weighed in yesterday. I've lost 2.8 pounds since yesterday. So we're gonna be happy about it. We're gonna try our best to recreate. However, we're gonna give myself grace if tomorrow is not as good, or even if I do everything perfectly today and tomorrow is a gain, because that's unsustainable at a minimum, 2.8 pounds. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, I do What I Eat Today videos all the time. Like, comment, subscribe, do all of the YouTube things, and I will see you next time. Bye!